On today's episode of Nerds Forever, we're going to be talking about the amazing, the talented, the showstopper, my favorite director, Rian Johnson, and his movies Knives Out and Glass Onion. And of course, we're going to be putting our guests to the test with some nerdy trivia. All that here and now on Nerds Forever. Welcome everybody back to the podcast. Today we have Marissa joining us, and would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us everybody where they can find you and what you mainly do on social media.
Yeah, my name is Marissa. I go by Marmar on TikTok. My handle is marmarisa 2022, and then I'm also on Instagram as marmar.visa. So yeah, that's where you can find me. But I talk a lot of things. I'm a multi-fandom person. I love Marvel. I love Star Wars. I love kind of like just movies and TV shows overall too. So kind of, and just like to overanalyze things as well. That's just
Right?
kind of, I love like psychoanalyzing everything that I watch and just finding like certain perspectives to see and think about. But yeah, that's kind of just love watching things. I love consuming media and just having fun with it and finding community around it.
Exactly. Don't we all? I feel like that's like the best thing that's come out of like this whole pandemic is just like you can
Yeah.
foster community from like distances. Like I've seen so many people like I have not seen them before 2020, and then 2020 came. I was like, oh, I want to be your friend. I want to be your friend.
Absolutely. This is the best thing about like I've never really been like as active on social media. I had like
Yeah.
Instagram and like Snapchat and all of that stuff, but then to have kind of I guess be a content creator to some sort of degree, and then finding like people like you and people like all over TikTok who like love the same things that I do and be able to even like meet them in person. Like I would never have dreamed about like meeting people from the internet, like having internet friends and then meeting them in
Yeah.
real life and all that. So yeah, it's probably one of the best things that came out of doing all of this.
Oh, that's great. I feel like that's like so like surreal to me. Like meeting people, I'm just like, wait, what the heck? Like I
Yeah.
not seen you just from like this.
Yes, from my screen, and you're a real life human being. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, because one of my favorite directors came out with another movie, I thought it would be great to talk about it. So, we're gonna be talking about Glass Onion, and also it's a sequel to Knives Out that came out in 2019. So before we get into that, like, do you have like a special connection with like how you found this series, or how did that go about for you?
Honestly, it for me it was just one of the selling points was Chris Evans in the first Knives Out.
Oh, take it. So I have like an inspired Chris
Yeah,
Evans sweater. Yeah.
I dead ass too bought a cable knit sweater like probably like after the movie came out, and it was like that was a huge thing after the first movie was Chris Evans in a freaking like cable knit sweater and just working it, and then just like the internet going insane after that. It was very funny, but I also bought a cable knit sweater, and I wore a cable knit sweater for the second movie as well.
Yeah, yeah. I was like texting my aunt. I was just like, yeah, I'm running a bit late. I just have to find like my Chris Evans sweater. Because I'm like, I
Exactly.
have to go. Like, it's just, you just
Yes.
have to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I think yeah, definitely like I think Chris Evans that was like a post like Endgame or like at least like MCU kind of time for
Hmm.
Chris Evans, and then I was just like interested to see what his next project would be
Right. Yeah,
after
because
MCU. Yeah.
this came out in November, and then Endgame came out in May, right? Or
Or
April?
like end of April. Yeah. So
Yes.
that was just like next don't quote me on this, but yeah, it might have been like in one of his next projects after that, coming out of the
Yeah,
MCU.
yeah.
So, but I mean, that was incredible. Like his like Chris Evans can definitely play a villain if he really
Yeah.
wants to. I mean, we've seen this like in a few projects like prior to like Captain America, but it was nice to kind of him coming back to kind of those roles. Because he can be very sinister and an asshole, like if he really wants to play it. And he was great in Knives Out. So
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was like I remember that was like one of the biggest selling points for it because like we've seen him as like the quote unquote cookie
cookie
cutter
cutter.
version of like a good guy being Captain America. And then now he's well, we didn't know he was the villain, but like he's
Yeah.
a villain character. So I feel like that was like a good selling point for that too. For me personally, it was just Ryan Johnson because I'm a big Last Jedi fan. I will say this to the day that I die. I'm like, I love that movie. I've seen it 51 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. People are like, why? And I was like, literally, it's my comfort movie. I'll watch it when I'm sick. And
Oh,
like, I just love just like, it's like, I'll like drift off to sleep and like, I'll wake up and it's like, it plays in my head like while I'm sleeping. I don't know. I just love that movie so much. So like to see like what he would do after The Last Jedi. I just was like, I'm for it. Like, let me buy my tickets. Like, I'm ready to go see it. So that was my selling point for it. But how did you like the plot and like the who done it aspect of it? Because it was kind of like had you on like on your toes the whole time.
I've always been a fan of like whodunit, like murder mysteries. Like I
Hmm.
always like trying to figure out like I guess resolving the mystery at the end and then trying to figure out based on the information or like just how the story's unraveling, like who could possibly have committed the crime and be like the culprit at the end of it. But I think with how Rian Johnson wrote it, it was just so it felt refreshing.
Yeah,
And, while at the same time like giving like commentary on like a lot of these archetypes that these characters embodied, because like the ensemble cast was just so strong in the first Knives Out, and then everyone played their role so well, and the chemistry, like the dynamic between like the whole family, was so good.
yeah,
Like they were all like not great people,
yep.
and that's why it was such a good drawing, like a selling point where it's like they were all bad, but like how bad were they? And then like kind of like also playing to this kind of archetype of like like just like the succession of like you have a rich like patriarch, and then
Yep,
kind of when he dies, like how like you kind of see like money kind of brings out the worst in people, so you're seeing that
absolutely.
kind of need, and then like kind of having that coming into this being like anyone could have really like
The motive.
the grandfather. But at the same time, again, like going back to like Ryan Johnson's writing and the screenplay was just so good, and how he tells the story. You're kind of like going back and forth of like it could be this person, but it also could be that person, and then kind of and then when you have the reveal, it feels very like a good payoff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like for me, I was just like watching everybody's motivations and like seeing like why they could be like a perfect candidate to be the murderer. Even at some points I thought it was the main character that was played by Ana de Armas.
Yeah.
I was like,
Mhm.
is she
Yeah.
lying? Like has she like a good actress like to the point where like is she like, you don't know if you could believe her. Um but it was just so good how like he unfolded the story. Like you're going through different narratives and different perspectives. And also what I really like too, because I just rewatched it before I watched
Mhm.
Glass Onion.
Yeah.
Based on who's telling the story when they're being interrogated, they have a different relationship with the
Yeah.
dad. Like they're
Yep.
all but like he's like blowing his birthday candles, and it's like the son and then his wife and then also the daughter and her husband, and it's like all you guys think that you're closer to him, so it's
Yeah.
like how are you guys really seeing the story here? Are you guys really the villain, because I feel like for everybody's story somebody is the villain to theirs, even if they could be the villain.
Yeah.
So I just love like there's so like you can watch the movie so many times and catch different things because he values detail a lot. So I'm
Yeah.
just like even like rewatching. I think this is my third time rewatching it. I was like, oh, I
Mhm.
didn't notice this before. So I really liked his writing and directing. Like it's just for me perfect.
Oh yeah. I also rewatched. I had to rewatch Knives Out again before watching Glass Onion. I think just because I loved. It's a really good rewatchable movie,
It
and even though
is.
I mean, what happens in the end, but I think just even the comedy that he weaves in is like so like just some of the one-liners, and it's just to I guess like reflect more of the character. Each character was so good, and then again like playing into a lot of those archetypes. Within those characters that they're embodying, but yeah, to your point too, where it's like I love how like it's they're all unreliable narrators
Yeah.
when telling yeah, when they're telling their stories about the relationship with their father or grandfather. um and then but yeah, like it's so because at the beginning like it kind of catches you where you're like, oh, like she like that was kind of, it's kind of like said and done where she like accidentally killed the grandfather,
Yeah.
and then you find out that yeah, like how like yeah, again like certain like the points in time like show otherwise.
Yeah.
And even like the way that one of my favorite things that after the latest rewatch was how Ana de Armas's character Marta, like it feels like a trope, but it was a trope done well, where it's like she like literally vomits when she
Oh
laughs.
yeah. I love that was
I
genius.
loved it. Like it plays this, like again that murder mystery of like it kind of is a good like kind of indicator, like tool like, or device that's used in
Yeah.
this mystery where it's like okay, like you can like that's when you can tell like okay, because she kind of knows everything about the family like because of her role and her relationship with the grandfather.
Yeah.
Well, I just found it hilarious that she cannot tell lies.
I would love to ask her. I don't think I've seen somebody ask him like why was that a device that you use or how did you
Yeah,
come up with that? Because like I would have never thought like that would have been well used, especially like to the
yeah,
ending too, where like she fake the phone call of like, oh, the person's okay, like she's gonna be questioned by the police and all that, and she's like holding it in and then just throws it up, and everybody's just like, she's lying. That was the best part.
It was again a good payoff, a good reveal, and then she vomits on Chris Evans. It was just really just like
Like, how do you come up with that? It's just like that's why you have to pay attention to like everything that he's saying, because it's not like just throw off. It's like it's definitely gonna have its payoff. Like especially with like the whole timestamps of the detail where the granddad, who he realized somebody was trying to murder him, so he's like giving her like a run by of like what you need to do, and like when she's like playing it out, and then he's like drive off past like the statue, and she's like, was it before, was it after? And he drove off before, and I was like, no.
yeah.
And it comes back to haunt it, and then she has to like erase the clips and stuff like that. I was just like, shit.
I was so stressed for Marta the entire time. I mean, I would be too, where it's like, again, like for someone who can't tell lies.
Yeah.
That's why I was so stressed for her the entire time, where she's like, I'm literally like just like, who do I trust and everything too.
Yeah.
Again, going back, I mean, like just the way the story is told, even like the grandfather being like, oh, he writes murder mysteries for a living, and then knowing how to like literally fake, like, I mean, like get away with murder, essentially, basically really telling her step by step how to get away with it.
Yeah. And then because of that, his house was like inspired by that too. Like there's like a fake window, and yeah, that was a cool part, how he noticed that, and it's like, well, is this like, where does this lead up to, like who goes in there? And then that was like unraveling her whole safe gate, like she went in back through there. I think it was just so well done. And then now with like the sequel that came out, do you think, I mean, it's hard to say this and I hate doing this for media, like obviously, but like did it like did it live up to the expectations, or like how does it compare, or were you going into it like blind, like tell a new story?
Yeah. No, yeah. For me, it was like because I love Knives Out, like I just didn't want to, because like I feel like in like at least this past year we've gotten like sequels that from like movies and projects that we like hold dear to our hearts.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is it could like be good, but at the same time, like our expectations could be like shattered because of it, because we're holding something so high. So for me, it was like I just wanted to go into this like kind of with little to no knowledge of it. Like I watched like the trailer once, and then kind of coming into this being like, okay, well, it's not going to be a continuation of the story, like of that current story that we saw in Knives Out today, but it's just another kind of anthology format where it's like, it's a brand new like characters, it's a brand new story. Obviously, it's just Benoit Blanc kind of like finding himself in finding another mystery that he has to solve.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like I just wanted to like just judge on that movie and see, like it's a sequel, but I wanted to judge it as a standalone kind of movie and like where it would play out. And I honestly like loved it. I really like, and I love how like Rian Johnson's able to make a completely new story and still feels like refreshing, and it still feels like a lot of the same energy and like the vibe from Knives Out kind of carried through in that regard to from the first movie to this, like Glass Onion.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also feel like, I mean, with Rian Johnson, like Star Wars, like, and his history with sequels, but like, I think it's nice that he's able to kind of, again, like, I also like The Last Jedi as well, too, not to go into Star Wars. But I think I like how he tries to find, like, again, evolve the characters or just evolve like the story where it can like just live on its own.
Yeah.
And I think Rian Johnson's good at kind of challenging the viewers to kind of think a little differently and like not have like high expectations, like, or like kind of like riding off of that kind of nostalgic wave or like that hype from something previous. So yeah, I like Glass Onion.
Yeah, I feel like, and that you bring up Star Wars, I feel like that really taught me like to go into things and like let it be like its own thing and not carry on like any past stuff. I feel like 2017 Star Wars really taught me that. I'm just like, let me just go into it blind and let me just enjoy it. So with this one, I didn't see like a single trailer. I was just like, I want to go into it absolutely blind. I've only seen the cast announcement, and that was it. Every time like the week coming up to the release of it, they obviously had their promotions. I was just like, I don't want to see this. I already have my ticket. Stop showing it to me. So I really love that, because it felt like such a breath of fresh air just to see like interactions and engagements, and didn't have like any pre-thoughts going into it. I was just like, tell your story, I will
Yeah.
enjoy it. Um, I do want to say that Janelle Monae's like performance in this was just amazing. It was
Oh, so good.
stunning.
So
um,
good. The turn of events that kind of unravel in this second movie was something that, again, could be seen as like tropey, but at the same time, it was still well executed. Going back to my
yes.
first point on Knives Out, where it's like kind of playing into the like that like kind of sandbox of murder mystery who done it, but
Yeah.
like taking those devices and then but still making it feel like different.
Yeah.
And I think Rian Johnson was really good at doing that with Glass Onion as well. Um, but even then, like to your point about the casting list, like when I first saw it, I was kind of like, this is a really random
Random.
of actors, and how are they like? What is the story? Like, I was very like kind of interested in like what his rationale was or what the story was going to be with these specific actors, kind
Yeah.
of at play on this like boat, and you're just like,
Yeah, that's literally the screenshot that I saw. Like all of them like
yeah,
lined up to go on the boat, and I was like, I know Catherine Hahn, and then
yeah,
I know Dave Bautista is in there too. I don't think he was on like that scene.
yeah,
Um, and then Janelle Monae I know too, and I was just like, this is a an odd bunch to put together. So that's why I
yeah,
really want to like get into like his headspace. Like, how do you like get these people that you wouldn't think would work well together to work well together?
yes,
So wow, it was like it just blew me away. Like my audience's reaction, like in the theater I
mhm,
watched it with, we were like laughing, we were
yeah,
screaming and shocked. Like it was really good, and that's why like I had to see it in theaters because
same.
I remember just having that same reaction with the first Knives Out. It was just so enjoyable to like guess along with like random people. Because if you're at
Yeah,
home, you're gonna just do it in your head. But like when you're outside with people, you're gonna audibly like gasp. Well,
yeah,
you're more inclined to do that.
yeah.
But it was just stunning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on. Yeah, it was unfortunate where it can't have a full like theatrical release similar to Knives Out, like with Netflix obviously taking
Yeah.
it on. But yeah, I mean, I've been telling people like too, like I highly encourage if you can't. Like I know it's only 1 week, like only
Yes.
like a whole week, but if you can, yeah, if you can watch it in theaters, I think it's a much more enjoyable experience because you'll get that same feeling that you did with the first Knives Out.
Yeah, like just the tension and experiencing that with other people, like it just has to be. Like I took my aunt to go watch it because
Okay.
she's scared of everything. No, she's only scared of bugs, but she will like watch like crime documentaries, supernatural stuff, and she loves like whodunit stuff. So I'm like, you're the perfect person to watch it with. So
Yeah.
she's very loud in the theater. So when things are happening, she's like screaming like ah! And I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's so embarrassed, but like laughing at the same time. So I was
I
just
had
like, I
to
have
play
to
that
see
in
it
my
with you.
theater too, where it was like from my like, point of view, where she was like, "Oh my gosh!" like, "Oh," I'm just like, "Yeah, same, same."
Oh, and I just like, I feel like whodunits really, depend on that audience engagement because
Yeah.
it feels like a controlled roller coaster. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you're watching like something and you go high and then you go low so
Yeah.
quickly. I wanted to do a thing that I call like nerdy feud, which is some
Okay.
trivia.
Okay.
So I hope it's not too hard. I was trying to
I
make them,
hope not
but
to.
I
Hopefully.
think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so Rian Johnson got the name for his movie Knives Out from what rock band? A.
Oh.
Radiohead, B. The Beatles, C. The Who, or D. Guns N' Roses?
Oh my God. Wow. Right out the gate, I'm like, "Oh, damn it." Oh,
I,
I'm
I
not a
will say it's okay if you don't know because I honestly didn't until I was looking up the answers and I was just like, oh, really?
I'm not a rock like genre person. That's why I'm like, "Oh, gosh." Are you allowed to give hints?
The name of it is something that you can play stuff on.
Radiohead?
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah,
for the
you can.
hint. That helps a
Yeah,
lot.
you're welcome. I would have never have guessed that. Like when I looked up,
Yeah.
I was like, "What, really?"
What
So,
about the Radiohead or
they
the
just had like a song called "Knives Out," and Rian
Oh,
Johnson just really liked it. He's like, they have no influence on like the plot or anything. It's just this is just a name that I liked, so that's the movie.
that's funny because like okay, well, hopefully this is not a question, a later question, but I think I when I rewatched Knives Out, I remember when Benoit Blanc said Knives Out in it, and I was like, like that Leonardo DiCaprio like meme where it's like like
Oh,
that.
oh,
I was like, oh look, it's right there, or like I think Peter Griffin from like Family Guy also did it too,
yeah,
where
he
he's like,
did. Yeah,
they said That was me. Like,
He said it. He said it.
well,
I
rewind.
love that running gag. Like whenever movies do that, like Wakanda Forever, I was like, they said it. They said it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, but yeah. Okay, next question. Which actor has appeared in every single one of Rian Johnson's movies? This is probably hard too. A. Alexi Wasser. B. Noah Segan. C. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Or D. Daisy Ridley.
I want to say, I really want to say Joseph Gordon-Levitt because I have also like mentioned, like I read that somewhere too. Like he was in, like not, he was like, I think it was one of the movies that like either Martyr or Martyr's sister was playing in the background. Like I remember like just finding that fact. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I'm gonna go with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. See,
Wrong, but he was in his Looper movie. It's actually Noah Segan.
Who's that?
Yeah, it's the guy who is the other detective who really loves the guy's books in the first movie.
Yeah.
He's played a resistance fighter in The Last Jedi, and then also in Glass Onion, he's like that random person just walking around. It's like, hey guys.
Oh wait.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 We'll do that later. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right. So when I looked it up, I was like, oh, that's him.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I like how Rian Johnson's building his like own little like cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. Next question. What relation does Rian Johnson have with the composer Nathan Johnson for the movie Knives Out? A. Twins. B. Brothers. C. Stepbrothers. Or D. Cousins.
Oh my gosh. Does he have a twin? I don't know. Now I'm like trying to figure out like if I knew this or not. I'm just gonna go like I'm gonna say A. Twins.
No, it's cousins.
Cousins. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they just like they went for school for different things, and it's like, hey, you do this, I do that, cool.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right.
That's cool. Yeah. Family business or like a family affair.
And what a great thing too. Like if you trust somebody, right? Just here, I got this project. Let's do it. All right, next question. What dessert does Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc compare the mystery to in the first Knives Out? A. Cake. B. Pie. C. Donut. Or D. Pudding.
Okay, I know this one finally.
Yeah.
It's donuts.
Yes.
Donut hole has a hole in its center. It is not a donut hole, but a smaller donut with its own hole. And our donut is not a hole at all.
Look.
That's right. Funny fact about that is that almost got cut out of the movie because Ryan wasn't like so convinced that it would deliver well, and then Daniel Craig was like, no, like let me try this.
Yeah.
So I love that because like it was just so like random. Like as you're like trying to like listen to him like explain it, you're like, a donut? What?
It was just funny when he kept talking about it, and I'm like, bro, get to the point.
Yeah. Last question.
Okay.
So Rian Johnson got the name for his movie Glass Onion from what rock band? A. Radiohead. B. The Beatles. C. The Who. Or D. Guns N' Roses.
I'm going to assume that it's not Radiohead again. So I'm just going to at least put that to the side for now. I'm literally like, I'm guessing right now. But
Go ahead, yeah.
Who? Was that C? I don't know.
Wrong. It's the Beatles.
Oh, it was the Beatles. Is that a song?
Yeah, apparently I googled it too. They have a song called Glass Onion. Right? So random. I don't think I've ever heard that song of theirs though, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up later.
Right, but there you go. That's all the questions. But you did get. I'll give you 1.5.
Yes.
Yes. There you go. Congrats.
Yay.
Okay, so now because I feel like with whodunits, you just have to like talk about the main substance of it. So I feel like it's the time to get into spoilers.
Okay.
So
yes.
I guess the first question is, did you guess, who done it?
I'm not surprised. I don't think I again, like it was one of those where it was like, obviously it was leading you to Janelle Monáe's character. Again, like it's like with any murder mystery, there's always like the obvious like suspects that know is probably not going to be like
like a diversion for the audience.
Yeah, it's definitely a diversion. And then along the lines of like everyone has motive to want to kind of kill the Miles. Is it Miles?
Yes, Miles.
Yeah, I think I think what was interesting about the story was that obviously they came to like talk about like again it's a murder mystery party like but it's like a murder mystery of Miles.
Yeah.
Only him to kind of like again this is spoilers but the reveal being that it was Miles all along.
Yeah.
And I guess once you start like getting more of the story of and the dynamic of that friend group,
Yeah.
then you're like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. And again, like just how things started unraveling once you start having more like pieces of the puzzle.
Yep.
And what's interesting about like yeah, like Rian Johnson, how he like in the beginning, like the beginning third, right, was a lot of exposition of just kind of like character building, getting to know who these characters are and like their dynamics with each other in this
Yeah.
friend. And then like seeing more of the picture and more of the story. I think it was like I think I was just amazed of like how like it kind of unravels, especially with Benoit Blanc and like
Yeah.
his like that was also something that I like really loved was that like from like I think the halfway point and then like kind of going back from the start to see like where like how like things were not as what we all saw initially.
Yes, I like that you use that phrase because that was got me too because I was just watching it for the ride of it. But then there was one scene where obviously spoilers, but Miles like hands the glass to Duke, Dave Bautista's character. And I took that in. I was like, he gave the glass to him. And then when we rewatch the scene after he dies, and then it shows that he put it down on the table, I was like, wait, why are you showing this to me again? I was like, that didn't happen. So I just kept that in my head. Yeah. And then when it was revealed to be him, I was just like, I knew it. But like you're not really so sure because everybody has motivation. And then they're obviously like unreliable narrators. They're obviously going to portray themselves as their best selves. So you don't really know who, like you couldn't put money on it. You couldn't bet on it. You're just like watching. But I definitely loved how it was revealed like, it was like a bigger mystery because it was actually Janelle Monáe's character that died, and then we are trying to solve her murder under the guise that we're solving Miles's pretend murder.
Yes,
and that was just so great. That's why like I say like her acting was amazing because with her accent too, I was like, what?
That accent was funny. I mean, I it was from like the South or something. But yeah, I think again, like going back to what I said previously in the non-spoiler section of like, I felt like the twin trope was something that like could have been like, okay, like that could have been like a lazy writing thing, like, oh, it was the twin all along, but like also being used so well that like for this context of the story to kind of again, like kind of reveal that the murder mystery aspect is not what you initially thought it was. It's again, like point, like it's Janelle Monáe's character's murder that they're trying to solve.
Yeah.
So I think the twin trope was used really well. And then again, like having Janelle kind of play both those characters and like having the differentiation between them was just so, it was so good.
And like, I definitely feel like it needs like more than one rewatch, especially that you know the ending because when she was on the boat, gripping it so tightly, I was like, damn, that's some grip, right?
Yeah.
And it's because that she's afraid of going on boats. Not because like she was like had like such resent for them.
Yes.
Because it wasn't really Andy, it was her twin sister. So I love that. And one scene that like really got my theater going was like the hot sauce going.
I saw it, I was like, oh no. That was so well done. It was just like, because everyone knows like, oh no.
No, right? And then we've already seen that scene play out from a different perspective, but like now we get another perspective, but we're still like, still tense about it. So like that is just to me so brilliant and well done. What I loved about it, overall, like the whole ending of it was just how she eventually got her sister's justice because he did burn the evidence and the proof. But she blew up his whole house using the material that she told him not to use. So who's going to buy into his business now?
Exactly. I think
that was brilliant.
It was very well played because at that point too, I was kind of like, how are they going to get out of this? Like, how are they going to like untie this knot that they kind of like made for themselves?
Yeah.
And then Benoit Blanc kind of also knowing how that was going to like unravel and like, like the clear.
Yes, the clear with a K.
With a K. But yeah, it was just so well. It felt very cathartic as well too, because everyone was just kind of like it was like a rage room where everyone was just like, like all the rage for Miles was just like being like put out there, expelled. Yes, exactly. So I think it was really like that was really awesome how like the ending kind of unfolded that way. Going back to like the characters and the friendship, like being like the disruptors, I think it was really,
Yeah.
I think I found it really like that dynamic and like again like that interesting of the idea of like they think they're so like innovative or they think that they're like being like yeah out of the box and all that, and
Yes.
then kind of like understanding like at the core of it like was just a friend being like manipulating other
Yeah.
friends to their like grasp through his money like and his wealth that he
Yeah.
has profit off of because of Janelle's
Andy.
character. Yeah. So I think that like kind of that performativeness, like that commentary on performance was really was well done. And going back to the point of like that how the friend group like or at least the actors that were playing these friends, how was that going to like transpire? I think that was the
Yeah.
whole point of it was like these people like coming together. That was the whole point of like how are these different people from different walks of life friends? And a lot of it at the end was like just capitalism. Like they all just needed money
And his influence.
in his
Wow.
influence. Because again, like think about like Dave Bautista's character was this like men's right activist. I was just like, yeah, I mean, like if you see like Dave Bautista, like you that like I'm not surprised if someone told me like that was how he identified. And even like yeah, like Catherine Hahn being again a politician, which is kind of something that she does really well, that kind of archetype.
Yeah.
Lizzie Odom Jr. being a scientist, and then yeah, Janelle Monáe's character, and then Miles's character, and even like Whiskey. I think Whiskey was kind of. I love how one of my favorite moments where I was kind of like, what did she say? Was when she was talking to Andy, and then her saying like, I read your the transcript of like the court thing.
Oh yeah.
Why would someone like that read just randomly the
I was like,
court?
why? Yeah, like you're not the type of person who would just like do like you just seem like you're just coasting with everyone's vibes. Like she actually like did her research. It's like okay.
Yeah. Like she's like, I'm just here to like get the clout from Duke, and I'm like, you know what? Power to you, girl.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta do what you gotta do, and he's
Yeah.
easy too.
Yeah, and even like, oh, I keep forgetting Kate Hudson's character too was also someone that was
Yes.
very like she was a gag. Like I'm not. Like, this might be a hot take. I'm not a huge fan of Kate Hudson, but I think the way she like this character, like she did so well with this character.
Yeah, I agree
How she
too.
played it. Even like with the sweatshops.
I was like, no, no, you did not. And then the her publicist was like, really thought that sweatshops actually meant that's where they make sweat clothes. That had me rolling. I was like dying of tears.
No.
Oh my gosh. But like,
Also-
yeah, the
yeah.
whole cast did like so well with like their connection to everybody, especially when it was revealed that Janelle Monáe had like a twin and like she's trying to like get in her twin's perspective and like read her journals and like trying to like test everybody. But I really loved, and it goes back to like the last movie too, how they have like the ending shot of like the woman like at the end like finally like winning. So you get like Ana de Armas's character like my house and like with the cup, and then you just get like Janelle Monáe's character just like looking off like to the distance of the shore, and it's just like you put them through the ringer, but they came out on top.
Yeah.
And then what I did like about this one, how he like reinvented his first movie is like Daniel Craig's character was in on it the whole time. He wasn't trying to figure it
Yes.
out. He was like,
Yes.
we're setting a plan and then we're gonna go figure it out.
Yes. Yes, because like kind of because I was questioning where it's like Miles. I thought like or is like Miles kind of like what are you doing here? Like why are you here?
Right.
And I was I knowing someone like Miles would be like, oh yeah, let me get like a world famous detective to be part of my murder mystery. Da, 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 da. Like
Yeah.
I would like that makes sense to me too. Like if you have the money for it, go for it. But yeah, and then revealing kind of like how like Benoit Blanc kind of made the story of like, oh, like someone like kind of to the first movie where like someone sent me
Yeah.
like something, and that's why I'm involved. And then I was thinking to myself, like whoever sent it to him is the murderer based on the prior knowledge of the first movie.
Right?
And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, fine, sure, whatever. And then and then you realize that he was in it all the whole time trying to solve something else. That's why he was on the island in the first place.
That was brilliant because I was just like, who would make another box and who could? And I also loved at the end of it, just Miles is just dumb. Like it's not like this brilliant rich guy. It's like, wait, you got the idea from me?
Making up words.
Yeah. I will. Yeah.
Here's the thing, I would believe him because I'm also like
I did too. Afterwards, when they had like the flashback, I was like, that didn't make sense to me before, but I just let it go because he's this
You're like,
rich
sure.
guy on this island.
Yeah,
So
I'm like,
it
I'm
really
too
goes
dumb.
to
I'm too dumb to hear, like, to understand these big people words, and then only to
Yeah.
realize, like, okay, that wasn't words, so I'm not dumb.
And it goes to show you the biases that we all have ingrained with us because just a rich white man, you're just gonna believe him. He was
Yeah.
making up words this whole time, and I was just like, I was going on with it too. And then afterwards, I was like, wait a minute, now that you do point that out, that's not a word.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed that like Rian Johnson's ability to like make such a simple, like, once you find out who did it, you want to go back and rewatch it again. Like, there's so many like little things about it that just keep it going for more than one rewatch.
Absolutely. I mean, now thinking about it too, like I even said this on like a TikTok post where like I would love just a franchise of this and just getting like new murder mystery. I feel like at this point, because of the, like it's so critically acclaimed right now, Glass Onion. Like I think Rian Johnson has like the gas and like the resources now and the success to like just to make a case like, hey, let's just make this a franchise and just have Craig lead another franchise. He's done with Bond.
Yeah, and there's people like right now on Twitter they're doing like fan casts and like the Glass Onion Twitter account's like, we're watching you guys, like we're seeing who you guys want. So yeah, it's becoming huge and I love it. Overall, like, what were your thoughts about it? Like, I hate when people do like the whole like, what would you rate it? Because I stopped doing that. But like, did you just leave like satisfied, or like how do you leave?
Oh, I left very satisfied. I left, I think, just, and like I watched it with my other friend who also has watched Knives Out, and I think it was just such an enjoyable experience in the theaters. Like I'm so glad I watched it in the theaters and not like on my couch. Like, I mean, I probably would rewatch it again on Netflix when it comes out with my family. But I loved how my first experience with the movie was in the theater, similar to the first Knives Out. I'm on the boat where I loved it. I loved how different it was from the first movie. I know there always would be people who are like, it wasn't as good as the first, or it didn't feel as whatever, like comparing it to the first movie, and that's totally fine. But then I like to go into like sequels, hopefully just try to like see it first from a standalone movie perspective, especially with like how this is becoming more of an anthology series and it's supposed to be already a kind of a standalone sequel. There's no connection really to like the characters from the first movie.
Yeah.
So just based on that, I think this is still a strong like murder mystery whodunit movie, like with dark comedy elements to it. And I think it kind of knocked it out of the park as well too in its own way.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I couldn't said it better because I only rewatched the first one just so I can just refresh my mind with like Rian Johnson's directing and that's why I was able to pick up on certain like camera angles or like different shots. I was like, oh yeah, they're unreliable narratives. But like it's definitely like just, you know, it's standalone thing. The only connection is just Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc is just a world renowned detective, and where will we find him next? That's literally just what it is.
Exactly. I really want this to be a franchise. Like, just might as well. Like, just because it's so successful, and like Rian Johnson clearly knows what he's doing, and he's become a master in this like type of storytelling. And I'm just waiting for the next one.
Yeah, literally. Like I'm gonna rewatch it definitely again when it comes on Netflix. But just like I want to know like how will he just, you know, come with like a new story, because it's just like the first one was already amazing, and then this one was just like it's amazing too, but like its own thing. But like how do you just keep reinventing, or it's that thing with like, I'm gonna bring up Beyonce because I love Beyonce, but it's like how do you just like compete with yourself, because like every new edition is it just like it's like you're just building upon your own foundation. It's like how do you just keep doing that, because the next one will definitely like have us on our toes again, but in different ways.
Exactly. I think also too, like I've made a connection with I think Rian Johnson, and similar in like terms of like Quentin Tarantino or like Jordan Peele, like of how I think he's able to he's found like a genre of storytelling for himself, and like hopefully he'll have like with the success of these movies have the resources and like full creative control to kind of do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I think because of this, he's establishing himself as one of those directors where you kind of just like a Quentin Tarantino movie, okay, like I'm in, or like a Jordan Peele movie, I'm in. And so I think that's what it looks like for Rian Johnson for his like career right now, and I'm not complaining.
I would hope so, and I would think so too, because for Jordan Peele's Nope, I didn't watch any trailers as well, and for this one, I didn't watch any trailers as well. It was just those were the driving factors for me. It's just Rian Johnson, Jordan Peele. I'm in, buy my ticket.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Again, would you like to tell people where they can find you?
Yes, I'm on TikTok as Marmar Isa 2022. I found out recently that people think my name is Mary because of how my name is like said. But yeah, it's Marmar, like Marmar and then Isa 2022 on TikTok. And then on Instagram, it's like marmar.isa. It's just a play on my name as well too. But yeah, I'm Marmar on social media. So
Nice, perfect. Yeah. Well, there you go. Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't, if you've gotten this far, definitely let us know what you think about Knives Out. But then I just don't want people to be spoiled because it is just so good. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.